In a world filled with motivational speeches, inspirational quotes, and success stories, many people believe that motivation is the key to achieving their dreams. We are constantly told to stay motivated, to follow our passion, and to believe in ourselves. While motivation can certainly play a role in pushing us to start something new, the truth is that motivation alone is rarely enough to sustain long-term success. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision. This difference is what separates those who dream about success from those who actually achieve it. At the beginning of any new goal, motivation often appears naturally. Imagine someone who decides to start exercising. On the first day, they wake up early, full of energy and determination. They buy new workout clothes, prepare a healthy meal, and imagine the future version of themselves, stronger, healthier, and more confident. But what happens 2 weeks later? The excitement begins to fade. The alarm clock rings early in the morning, but the bed feels warmer. The weather outside is cold. Work becomes stressful. Suddenly, the motivation that once felt so powerful begins to disappear. This is where discipline becomes essential. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It is the quiet force that keeps a person moving forward long after the excitement has faded. Many successful people understand this truth. They do not rely on motivation every day. Instead, they rely on systems, routines, and habits that allow them to continue working even when their emotions change. Consider a professional athlete. Do you think they feel motivated every single day? Of course not. There are days when they feel tired, bored, or discouraged. Yet they still train. They still practice. They still show up. Why? Because discipline has become stronger than their temporary emotions. Motivation is like a spark. Discipline is like the engine. A spark may start the fire, but the engine keeps the machine running. One of the biggest problems with relying on motivation is that motivation is unpredictable. It rises and falls depending on many factors: your mood, your environment, your sleep, or even the weather. Some days you may feel unstoppable, ready to conquer the world. Other days you may struggle to complete even the smallest task. If your progress depends only on motivation, then your progress will also be unstable. This is why discipline is far more reliable. Discipline creates consistency. Consistency is the real secret behind success. Writers who publish books do not write only when they feel inspired. They write regularly. Entrepreneurs who build successful companies do not work only when they feel excited. They work consistently, solving problems day after day. The same principle applies to learning new skills. Whether it is learning a language, playing an instrument, or mastering a profession, progress rarely comes from occasional bursts of motivation. Instead, it comes from repeated effort over a long period of time. Small actions performed every day eventually create extraordinary results. This idea may sound simple, but it is incredibly powerful. Imagine two people who both want to improve their lives. The first person waits for motivation. They start strong, but stop whenever they lose excitement. Their progress is irregular. Some weeks they work hard, other weeks they do nothing. The second person relies on discipline. They decide in advance what they will do each day, and they follow through regardless of their mood. After 1 year, the difference between these two people becomes enormous. The disciplined person may not have felt motivated every day, but they moved forward steadily. The motivated person, however, may have stopped many times along the way. Over time, discipline compounds like interest in a bank account. Each small action adds up. Each day of effort builds momentum. Another important aspect of discipline is that it reduces the need for constant decision-making. When a behavior becomes a habit, it requires less mental energy. Instead of asking yourself every day whether you should work, exercise, study, or practice, the action becomes automatic. This is why many successful individuals create strict routines. For example, some writers begin writing at the same time every morning. Many entrepreneurs start their day with a specific morning routine. Athletes train according to fixed schedules. These routines remove uncertainty and make discipline easier. There is also a psychological advantage to discipline. When you consistently keep promises to yourself, your self-confidence grows. Each completed task sends a message to your brain. I am someone who follows through. Over time, this identity becomes powerful. You no longer see yourself as someone who depends on motivation. Instead, you become someone who acts with intention and responsibility. And when discipline becomes part of your identity, success becomes much more likely. This does not mean motivation is useless. Motivation can be extremely valuable at the beginning of a journey. It can give you the emotional energy needed to start something difficult. It can inspire you to dream bigger and imagine new possibilities. However, motivation should be seen as a bonus, not the foundation. The foundation must always be discipline. Think of motivation as the wind in a sailboat. When the wind is strong, the boat moves faster. But a skilled sailor does not depend entirely on the wind. They know how to navigate even when the wind is weak. Discipline is that navigation skill. It allows you to continue moving forward regardless of external conditions. In the end, success is not determined by how motivated you feel on your best days. It is determined by what you do on your worst days. Do you stop or do you continue? The answer to that question defines the power of discipline. Building discipline in a world of distractions. We live in one of the most distracted times in human history. Every day, our attention is pulled in dozens of different directions. Social media notifications, text messages, emails, streaming platforms, and endless online content compete for our focus every minute of the day. For many people, the biggest obstacle to discipline is not laziness, it is distraction. Distraction quietly steals time, energy, and attention. A person may start their day with the intention of being productive, but within minutes they find themselves checking their phone, scrolling through social media, or watching videos. What was meant to be a 5-minute break turns into an hour. At the end of the day, they wonder where the time went. The truth is that modern technology is designed to capture attention. Every notification, every sound, and every bright icon on a screen is created to trigger curiosity. Companies invest billions of dollars into designing platforms that keep people engaged for as long as possible. Because of this, discipline today requires more intentional effort than ever before. In the past, people had fewer distractions. When someone wanted to read, they simply opened a book. When they wanted to work, they focused on the task in front of them. Today, however, the temptation to switch tasks is always present. This constant switching has a hidden cost. Research in psychology has shown that when people frequently switch between tasks, their productivity decreases significantly. Each time you shift your attention from one activity to another, your brain needs time to refocus. This process is known as attention residue. Part of your mind remains stuck on the previous activity, making it harder to concentrate fully on the new task. Over time, this reduces the quality of your work and increases mental fatigue. Discipline, therefore, is not only about forcing yourself to work harder, it is about protecting your attention. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Whatever you focus on grows stronger in your life. If your attention is constantly scattered, your progress will also be scattered. Successful individuals understand this principle very well. They design their environment in a way that supports discipline rather than fighting against it. For example, many writers choose to work in quiet spaces where interruptions are minimal. Some entrepreneurs schedule specific hours for deep work, during which they turn off notifications and avoid unnecessary communication. Students who want to study effectively often place their phones in another room to avoid temptation. These small decisions create powerful results. Environment plays a larger role in discipline than most people realize. Imagine trying to eat healthy food while your kitchen is filled with junk food. Every time you open the refrigerator, temptation appears. Eventually, your willpower becomes exhausted. Now imagine a different environment. The refrigerator contains only healthy ingredients. Snacks are nutritious. Suddenly, making good choices becomes much easier. The same idea applies to productivity. If your workspace is filled with distractions, discipline becomes difficult. But if you remove unnecessary temptations, staying focused becomes far more natural. Another important strategy for building discipline is learning to tolerate boredom. Many people struggle with discipline because they are used to constant stimulation. Phones, games, and social media provide instant entertainment. As a result, activities that require patience, such as studying, reading, or practicing a skill, may feel slow or uncomfortable. However, boredom is not the enemy of progress. In many cases, it is actually a necessary part of it. Mastery requires repetition. Musicians practice scales for hours. Athletes repeat the same movements thousands of times. Writers rewrite sentences again and again. These activities are not always exciting, but they are essential. Discipline means continuing even when the activity feels ordinary or repetitive. It means accepting that not every moment of progress will feel exciting. In fact, some of the most important work in life happens during these quiet, unnoticed moments. Another powerful way to strengthen discipline is through small commitments. Many people fail because they set goals that are too large or too unrealistic. They promise themselves that they will wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for an hour, read 50 pages, and complete multiple tasks every single day. For a few days, this might work. But eventually, the pressure becomes overwhelming. When the system collapses, they feel discouraged and give up entirely. A more effective approach is to start small. Instead of committing to 1 hour of exercise, begin with 10 minutes. Instead of reading 50 pages, start with 5. Instead of trying to work for 4 hours without interruption, begin with 30 minutes of focused work. Small victories build confidence. Each time you complete a small commitment, your brain registers success. This success strengthens your belief in your own ability to remain disciplined. Over time, these small commitments can gradually grow into larger habits. Another key principle of discipline is accountability. When people work entirely alone, it is easy to break promises to themselves. But when others are aware of your goals, the pressure to remain consistent becomes stronger. Athletes have coaches. Students have teachers. Many professionals work with mentors or accountability partners. Even sharing your goals with a trusted friend can make a difference. Knowing that someone else expects progress can increase your commitment to your own goals. Finally, it is important to remember that discipline is not about perfection. Even the most disciplined individuals experience difficult days. There will be moments when you feel tired, distracted, or unmotivated. There may even be days when you fail completely. What matters most is how quickly you return to your path. Discipline is not destroyed by one mistake. It is destroyed by quitting entirely. Think of discipline as a long journey rather than a single test. Every day offers a new opportunity to practice focus, patience, and commitment. In a world full of distractions, the ability to remain focused has become a rare and powerful skill. Those who learn to control their attention gain a tremendous advantage over those who allow distractions to control them. And as you continue strengthening this ability, discipline gradually becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural way of living.